Okay, let's do that. Let's call the meeting together, this special teleconference meeting of St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. And the first item is, well, if I can find my agenda. What's the first agenda is Chapel Crossing, public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Andy, why don't you briefly bring us up to speed with whatever changes and information you need to provide us.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of Chapel Crossing, my colleagues, we very much appreciate your holding the meeting in this manner this evening. This is the master subdivision plat for Chapel Crossing. In many ways, it's the culmination of 15 years of work by this board, the town board, the applicant, and town staff in facilitating the transformation of Chapel Crossing from the former Reader's Digest to now a full mixed-use campus. The subdivision involves the primary parcels on the site that are created as a result of the town board actions, both as recent as this past December, but leading back to other actions by the town board, the planning board, and construction activities by the applicant. The plat itself is a fairly dry document and technical document, and as suggested by the town planner, we have created two diagrams that explain a little bit more clearly or readily what the existing conditions are and what the proposed conditions are. So I will move now to share my screen and show those diagrams. So this is the formal plat. Does everybody see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the formal plat. Since our last meeting with you, we have, or with town staff, we have added 3 sheets to be able to show the plat in larger format. This is the whole entire site, and then the larger formats are broken into 3 sheets to allow for greater detail, which is important when you're looking at things such as easements, which will run through the site. But in order to better understand or more readily understand what's going on, we prepared 2 diagrams. The first of which is called existing parcels and zoning. The existing parcels that make up the site of the master subdivision are the original Reader's Digest site, which is 113.7 acres, which is the contiguous parcel in the center, as well as the 4 single-family lots along Roaring Brook Road, which previously held 3 houses, which is now since been demolished a couple of years ago now. So those 5 existing parcels comprise approximately 117.8 acres. And those parcel lines are shown in black. The lines in red show the current zoning on the site, which zoning was changed, as I mentioned, as recently as this past December by the town board's actions in revising or amending, rather, the boundary lines of the MSTD, future East Village at the bottom of the screen, as well as the OPROD, detail overlay in the southern portion of the site. So the proposed subdivision, the master subdivision, is to mimic, if you will, or reflect the zone changes that are shown on this drawing and the construction activity that has occurred on the site as a result of town board and planning board approval. If we go then to the proposed parcels, And zoning. Again, the parcel lines are shown in black. Zoning lines are shown in red. The zoning lines do not change from the prior diagram. As I mentioned, they reflect the changes that were passed by the town board in December. From the 5 parcels that we have today, we are proposing to create 6 parcels. We've designated them A, B, C, D, E, and F. Starting in the middle of the diagram, parcel A is the footprint of the 200 building. Has been redeveloped for 64 apartments, both AFH units, market rate units, and workforce housing units by Wilder Boulder. Parcel B is a 59-acre parcel that includes the remaining office buildings, as well as the parking adjoining that, and the land zoned R1A to the north, to the very north of the site. Parcel C is the retail site, the OPROD zone site, as well as a small area along Roaring Road that remains BRO 20, that is not within the retail overlay, but does not have any buildings on it. That parcel is 20.5 acres. Parcel D is the MFPD, also reflects the MFPD zoning and the MFPD PDCP approved by the town board in December. That's 32.0 acres. Tucked inside of parcel D or within parcel D and fronting on the loop road is parcel E, 1.1 acres that contains the former Wallace Auditorium, now the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center. And parcel F is what remains of the 4 single-family lots on Roaring Brook Road that will become an open space parcel not to be built on. So those 6 parcels are the subject of the master subdivision. The East Village, parcel D, will have a further subdivision in the future that's being processed at the same time as the East Village site plan, which is shown here in diagram. That will entail 91 homes or 91 townhomes and 91 individual lots held in fee simple, plus 1 additional lot held in common by those townhome owners. But the master subdivision before the board tonight is just the 6 parcels reflecting the zone changes that have been adopted by the town board, and in some cases, development that has occurred per site plan approvals from the plan. That is the extent of the master subdivision. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have at this point. And I can leave this up, or I can go back to just the images on the screen, the people on the screen.
I think leave it up, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes good sense. Sabrina, do you have any comments that you would like to run through?
Sure. One of the things, for the most part, the applicant has addressed all of my concerns, all of my comments. There's just one area that I think there was going to be a correction. That was my favorite comment. The size of the open space parcel in the table versus that on the plan. Difference in the figure that I think needed to be corrected. Other than that, it's my comment number 4, in reference to the removal of maintenance charge for baking. So one of the things that I have asked for was kind of an overall picture of parking, of pedestrian pathways, lighting, just kind of the overall layout of the site in its entirety in regards to those features. And I know in my comment number 6, Andy, your comment was that you're not going to show it at this time. It's not part of the subdivision. I do want to raise the issue that we had asked for this when we were discussing the East Village site plan, and at that time, you didn't want to share it with us that it wasn't appropriate because Toll Brothers wasn't controlling the entire site. And so I just want to know when we will receive information that really looks at the, I don't know if you want to call it utilities or kind of the site-wide aspects of Chapel Crossing. When will we see pictures and diagrams that represent that?
Sabrina, before Andy answers that, I want to introduce the notion of the possibility of a master site plan application that show that.
If that's how you think we should address that.
Well, if that's the only way we're going to see it, that's what's going to be required.
Well, what I want to know is, Andy, you said it's not prime to be shown at this time. What was your thought behind showing that or addressing it?
The things that I believe you're looking to see were on the retail site and in the off portion of the office site that was redone were approved as part of the retail site plan. As we proceed with the East Village site plan, we can certainly show that for context similar to showing what's happening on any other neighboring site. And we can certainly address with the planning board how the connections are made, whether they be from lighting, from roadways or walkways or any other things that connect, because I think we've all worked very hard to make those connections. And I'm sorry if I may have said in the past that we didn't want to show them. There's really no reason not to show them because they are part of either what's been built and or approved. So I think those connections are certainly important. We're happy to show them during the review of the East Village to show how those connections have been designed and will result.
Okay.
I guess what I would
Brenda,
ask.
do we need to see those before we look at final or as part of final?
Well, the site improvements in any subdivision that are not involve a public.
Fire alarm?
Could I ask a technical question here? Are we getting echoes because we're hearing through everybody's open mic what somebody's saying? So we're hearing it like 10 times. Can somebody find a way to mute other people's microphones and for us to raise our hand or something so only one mic is open at a time? Maybe that's part of the problem with the echo. I don't know, but I'm asking.
Harry, do you know?
Or can everybody just mute their own thing and then unmute it when it's time to talk?
I think that's.
All right, so why don't we do that as kind of a plan? Gary, you're muted. All right, so if everybody can mute unless they're talking, I think that would be helpful.
Where's the mute button?
If you're on the computer, if you hover your mouse to the right corner of your screen, you will see mute and unmute.
Well, there we go.
And if you're on an iPad,
I don't speak iPad, but
yeah, I'm not. I don't see it. Yeah, neither do I.
I think it's the button on the side of your iPad.
Well, there's a whole bunch of buttons.
Hey, I can lower the volume, okay, but then I can't hear you.
Well, I understand that the wires are allowed to keep talking. They're never muted.
Dick, do you have your phone and your computer on for sound?
I do.
but
That's a problem.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
okay.
Well, that's gone, and I'm still here.
Sounds clearer.
Much clearer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay, so the question was raised can we show these connections, the parking, the relationship of all of the different pieces during the final subdivision?
Diagram, it would be similar to this with additional things highlighted. It's because I've not seen a subdivision.
So, I would ask you how the planning board wants to handle that.
Well, I personally think if we can, if we are so inclined and move forward and move forward with preliminary and start to look towards final and hopefully get out of all this by April 7th, I think it would be helpful if we had in the next week or so, before March 24, if we had this additional information for final, and then we can have it wrapped up at one time. My sense is, Sabrina, that's what you were after and trying to get, that information, some sort of commitment as to when we were going to see it.
Right. So Andy, the question is that something that we can pull together in the next week? You're unmuted, Andy.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Now there you are.
The answer is yes, we can. We have all those pieces from.
Yeah, because other than that, that's, that was my only comment other than addressing Mr. Brownell's question regarding the secret form.
Before we get there, just on this subject, I sort of lost track of specifically. I mean, there are some things mentioned. This is very helpful, Sabrina. Item 6, and I think that I've sort of lost track of where these elements might be, especially the pedestrian walkways. And so, I guess I would ask: are there any of these connections, pedestrian walkways, which maybe cross parcel boundaries? And I mean, the intent of the site we always had was that it sort of operate as one piece of property, one master plan. Are there any cross easements that are appropriate to make sure that the overall master plan functions the way we had intended? Are they necessary? Just without having those elements highlighted on the plan, it's hard to understand what the consequences might be.
Show that, as you can diagram, the subdivision line are intuitive. If you were to go on the site, I don't think you would ever sense these lines, nor will you see them on the ground, because
So Andy,
landscape will.
Andy, I understand that part, but I mean, I would assume these parcels, once you make a parcel, it's subject to sale. And
Yep.
So the question really is, at any point in time, could a new owner decide that essentially they're not going to allow people coming onto their parcel?
Tom, this is Dave Wall speaking. I believe that those concerns are addressed in the REA that we have on site that involve all of the parcel owners, whoever they may be.
Correct.
Okay. And that applies in perpetuity to the parcels?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Thank you.
Sabrina, are you satisfied with your point number 4 in your memo?
I think that gets back to showing how the common features of the site relate to one another. they did, they did provide, the area on the plans as opposed to last time. But I think that the cross connection, as I said before, with the lighting and the pedestrian walkways is just really also to understand the parking. Because, Andy, as you pointed out, nobody's going to notice whether or not there's a property line between the retail and the office use. Parking is parking, but when it comes to plowing that parking or somebody falls somewhere within that site, it's going to be an issue. And so to know where the numbers are, and I know that there's a lot of, for the town, we have records of what is grandfathered in relation to parking, in relation to the office use, what is required due to the commercial retail use. We have heavily discussed parking as part of the East Village, and we just really need to make sure it's memorialized.
This is Dick.
Andy, would you be able to provide us with a brief narrative in addition to revised figures? Again, next week?
Can you hear me?
Andy?
This is Dick.
We can hear you, Dick.
Pardon me?
We can hear you.
Good. As far as snow plowing goes, maybe a condition has to be that one company is responsible for plowing all of the site, maybe save the east, residential area. That would help, I think, with whose property it is or isn't. But I don't know if that's feasible.
Well, I would suggest that we include that in the, I would suggest that we include that, or Andy include that in a narrative, giving some information that fleshes out the diagrams. I think it would really help us with a good understanding, and then whatever the lawyers or Bob Sealy wants to see on the plan, we can always add that. But I think that would be, Dick, I think that's a very good point. I think Sabrina's point of just showing how this is all integrated with the lighting and pedestrian and parking, and Tom's point, this makes good sense. This is what I think Sabrina's been after. So if this is not a big lift, if we can get this done, I think it would be great to have it done as we look toward final.
We can do that.
So here's one more thing that I've lost track of that just I'd like to revisit for a second. Somebody help me on the parcel F, the parcel where the homes were demolished, and that's going to be an open space. Do we have anything in the documents that talk about the ongoing maintenance of that space and how it's going to be handled?
In the process, that was determined whether that would be changed by Chapel Crossing as a permanent open space. I believe at the moment it would remain part of the open space at Chapel Crossing, and as such, it would be maintained as part of the overall maintenance of the site. The maintenance, the ground maintenance, and the plowing are part of what Dave Paulson, the agreement that all owners and tenants at Chapel Crossing must sign that obligates them to help pay for and maintain the full site and all the facilities that are available to the public and to occupants.
So it's sort of part of a common area maintenance agreement.
Right. Tom, this is Dave Walsh again. So in terms of parcel F, as you were saying, the new gravel path that goes along Roaring Brook Road and then comes out to 117 and goes into the main entrance, meets up with the main entrance there.
Right.
About 4 feet on either side is what we're currently mowing. Beyond the 4 feet line or 4 or 5 feet line, we're leaving that in a naturalized situation, which it has historically been, with the wooded area. So it's not going to be a manicured, if you will, for lack of a better term, area. But so that'll just remain a wooded area and it'll be in a naturalized state.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bob, do you want to go through any of your comments if there's nothing else for Sabrina at this point?
I'm good.
You're good, Sabrina?
I am good.
Okay. I have 2 outstanding comments, MS1 and MS2, regarding the labeling of the utility easements. Evidently, they labeled some easements, which I believe are going to be private as opposed to town. And I sent out a red line markup for their use and information. Hopefully the planning board has seen that. And those are the only 2 items I have that are outstanding to date. All the other items, MS3, MS4, MS5, MS6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 have all been completed. So those are the only items I have just as far as labeling of the easements on the map. And that is it.
And Bob, I can report, thank you first for those markups. We provided them to our surveyor and except for unusual circumstances, he expects to have them this week. Will be incorporated into the revised.
Thank you, sir.
Andy or Mark Weingarten, can you just briefly speak to the private easements and the mechanics there? I guess we would just want to have some level of assurance. I'm sure you've already had these vetted with town attorneys. But when you say they're private, then they will not trigger any sort of environmental issue or DEP issue, stormwater issue, anything like this. These have nothing to do with those kinds of environmental issues.
When I private agreement with the site-wide RDA, there are no private easements per se to be subdivided parcels.
Would the walk count as an easement? Are you talking about R1A zoning, parcel F?
No, I think the public has access generally to Chapel Crossing. That's within the parcel.
Yeah.
There's no gates, as you know, or restricted areas.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from board members? I don't know how we solicit comments from the public at this point. I presume that there is some mechanism where interested members of the public could check in at this point. Do we have any such members of the public
We have
connected?
we have 4 phone call listeners,
We have
but
4 listeners?
yeah, but I don't know if there are some people that are on the call, but in the chat function and the question and answer, there's no questions.
Okay. Can they speak? Can they have access, or are they muted?
They're unmuted.
Okay. let's give it a couple of seconds in case someone sends a question or wants to ask a question.
Identify themselves.
Bob,
Yes, thank you, Dick.
Bob,
Yes,
while we wait if there's any public online, another alternative to allowing public comment is, the board can carry on its business and maybe we can just like hold something for like 3 days, 5 days, whatever it is, to give people a chance to watch the video and comment after. I'm not sure, but just something if you feel not enough people would have an opportunity to like log in and participate.
how would that work, Les? Would we technically leave the public hearing open for such comment?
Well, I think it creates some issues if you're going to leave the public hearing open in terms of any future schedule. Sure. So if this is being streamed live and people have the opportunity to view it and they haven't developed any questions, I think that may be more than adequate. And again, we're going to see this again on April 7th. There's questions that are received between now and then, even if it's outside the public hearing, it can be considered by the planning board.
Well, here's a problem. Someone just flashed on a screen that Howard something or other, that they had a submission that they made. So I don't know. I assume it has to do with what we're talking about, but it was just flashed on for a second and left. I don't know if anybody else saw it.
No, I don't know where that came from.
Nope.
I think those are emails that Andy's getting, and his emails are fleeing up.
Yeah, those are probably from us.
Yes, they are.
Great.
Yeah, they're from you guys. There's another one.
Yeah,
Andy,
those are
sharing your screen.
Okay, Mark.
it's no privacy, guys.
Okay. So then if it's just between Mark and Howard, then we're all set.
We did post and we made available the link to connect. So people were given an opportunity to, access the meeting today.
Yep, I think that's adequate.
well, with that advice, and not seeing any comments or questions, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Did you get those, Felicia? I don't know who it was.
I think it was Mr. Brownell and Mr. Sanzari.
That's right.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion's carried. I think the next item then for us to consider is the negative declaration that's been prepared. I think we received that electronically today, if not, again, in this other file.
No, you did receive it electronically today.
Right. Dick, did you have some questions on the neg deck?
No, I had a question before. I just didn't understand item 8, I guess, as to how it worked, but that was explained to me by Jennifer, I think.
Okay. Are there any questions on the negative declaration? Les, you're okay with it? Obviously you're okay with it?
Yes.
So is there a motion to adopt the negative declaration?
Motion.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So at this point, is there a motion to move forward to grant the conditional preliminary subdivision approval?
And before we get into that, I would say that there are conditions that need to be laid out, but this format doesn't necessarily lend itself readily to doing that. So I think there will be conditions. And there's no written resolution tonight, but we will develop those conditions and incorporate them down the road and ultimately what will be a combined preliminary and final subdivision resolution.
Does everyone understand that?
I think so. So technically, what is the action that we're taking, Les, if anything, at this point?
As you said, it was a motion to grant conditional preliminary subdivision approval. Now, normally you'd have a resolution in front of you, but you don't. So I'm just observing the fact that there will be conditions, it will be written, and they will be incorporated into a resolution, but it will come at the end of the process when we do final subdivision approval.
Right, and the anticipation is that final will reflect the preliminary very closely, if not exactly.
So right now, I think between preliminary and final, the applicant is going to respond to the information requests and update the plans to cover those. And I would still reserve the question for potential further discussion as to whether there is a necessity for a master site plan later on down the road.
Okay. So at this point, the action for us to take is whether or not we wish to move forward to grant conditional subdivision. Okay. Is there a motion accordingly from members of the planning board?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? If not,
I guess I have one little one. This is tied back to the 117 road being, activities being complete, right?
No.
No, never mind then. I have no question.
Okay. All in favor of the motion that has been proposed and seconded?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. We're set there. And I think then the next matter for us is to direct folks, staff, legal, and the applicant to prepare final subdivision application. What we'd like to do, and I think at the request of the applicant, with an eye toward an April 7th finish line, is if you can get this material to staff by next week, March 24, so it can be reviewed, discussed, and confirmed. And then we will be in position, we hope, at the April 7th meeting to take action on the final. And I think, Andy, you've indicated that those conditions that we've talked about this evening could be answered and provided by next week, by March 24th. So, and I guess Les and Sabrina, in the meantime, what we can do is in anticipation of that is start to prepare, those final subdivision resolutions. Yep. Preliminary and final subdivision resolutions.
Yep. It'll be a single combined.
A single combined document?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any
so-
other issues or questions at this point?
Andy, I know that when you guys make deliveries to town hall, we have kind of a new process in place that they have to go through our police department. So if you're delivering something next Friday, then please call my office and somebody will meet you downstairs. Town hall.
Actually, next Tuesday. That's the date.
The date is next Tuesday, then next Tuesday. Know that town hall is on a 50% capacity, so there are people there, but our doors are closed to the public and we have very strict entry policies for deliveries.
Okay. We will.
Great.
Okay. Is there anything else on this topic right now?
There's nothing on this subdivision. We've done it, but we have another item on the agenda, which is the TCO extension resolution. So
Right. Okay, so we'll pull, that'll be the next item. So yeah, Les, would you run through this resolution that we have in terms of this TCO situation?
Right.
So
As
this
you
is mimicking what we had from the town board, I believe, right?
That's correct. On February 18th, there was a request by the applicant for a further extension of the TCOs, which were going to expire at the end of the month, for extension of the TCOs on the retail uses. And applications were made to the planning board and the town board. We acted actually first on February 18th and tentatively granted the extension requested by the applicant to the end of May, subject to whatever action the town board took. And then subsequently on March 3rd, the town board adopted a resolution which initially extended the TCOs to May 31, 2020, but then further went on to say that from now on, the building inspector could make the sole determination as to whether the TCOs could be further extended beyond that point, and without any further input or voting by the planning board or they said it by the town board. And our resolution would adopt that and say that there would be no further involvement by the planning board on that subject. So that's what our resolution does. It basically grants an extension to May 31, 2020, and saying that upon adoption of this resolution, the building inspector shall have the sole discretion to issue further TCOs and extension of TCOs beyond May 31, 2020 for approved retail uses at Chappaqua Crossing, and no further action by this board is required as to such issuance or extensions.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. Any questions from anyone?
No.
If not, is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. I think we have, that's it for Chappaqua Crossing this evening. Thank you very much, guys, everyone, for participating in this interesting setup and layout. And I guess for planning board members, we have some minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Yep,
much.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
So we have the minutes of February 18. Tom, you weren't here for this, so actually neither of the 2 minutes that are in front of us. February 18 and March 3rd.
And we have March 17th too.
We do?
No, March 17th is
That's-
today.
That's really fast typing.
Yeah, no, we're not.
We only have two.
No, that's the
I'm not that
resolution, isn't it?
good.
Sorry about that.
Anyone have any changes, questions?
Which one are we
comments
on?
The
February
first
18.
one would be February 18.
Okay. I have a minor question on page 2 of 5, line 31 and 32. It says parcels, no, it says parcel A, the 200 building, it's 0.78 acres. Parcel B is the remaining office parcel consisting of office building 200 to 600. I thought that 200 was a separate building.
It is.
So why is there an office building component in parcel B?
I don't have the minutes in front of me, unfortunately.
It's not, it shouldn't be 200. It should
Yeah,
say.
Correct.
It should be corrected to either 300 or 400.
Yeah, or leave out the
Right.
numbers entirely and do it that way.
Yeah,
And just say consisting of the office buildings and then get rid of the numbers and
Yeah.
parking lots to its east and north.
okay.
Okay,
That'll be fine.
okay.
That's all I had. I'm finished.
Anyone else?
Okay,
I'm good.
all right. Okay, is there a motion from either Dick or Greg on adopting these minutes?
Motion.
All right, second, Dick?
Second. Gee, is Tom
All
still
in
with us?
favor?
he could say something.
Well,
too.
he wasn't there for that.
Tom wasn't there.
Oh,
He
he
just gets to wave.
I know, but we could have said, well, like, we could have asked him, did you read it in its entirety and understand it? But, okay. We'll go to the next one.
All in favor?
Ransom, Kumantan.
Aye.
All right, and the next ones are March 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a couple of changes in it, but I think rather
There you
than
go.
boring people with little wordsmithing, I'll just email these to Felicia. There's very
Okay.
minor wordsmithing things.
I have
Nothing that is like-
one minor and one semi-moderate comment on page 5 of 6.
Okay.
The easy one is line 8. And it's, Mr. Brownell noted that an electrical analysis. AN, okay? The one that is a little bit more important than that is on line 33, where Brownell further stated that there are 3 trees. I'd like to put in parentheses, 20-inch in diameter or larger, parentheses, which are in good condition.
Right.
That's it.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
Greg, anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes of, what is this now, March 3?
As amended.
Motion. As amended.
As amended, thank you. Motion?
Second.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Who
All in favor?
seconded?
Aye.
Dick.
Okay,
Aye. Yeah. Dick Brownell, second.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
and I think that's it, right? We're done? Is there a motion to close this electronic meeting? No
Yeah,
one
now
got
that I
hurt,
know
that's
how
a
to
good
do
thing,
it, I'd like to
right?
keep it open more, and maybe we could play cards or something. But
Oh, maybe you can do it on April 7th.
oh, good
Yeah,
idea.
I suspect we might still be doing this.
I think so.
Unfortunately.
Well,
Tom's
Greg,
got
is
the
there-
best backdrop.
in that
Who
vein,
does?
Tom's got the best
Oh, yeah, that
background.
looks great.
here, he's on mute. In that vein, may I throw out there, one of the things, I know we were bumped off when we did our test last Friday. We were bumped off because there was too many people trying to log on at the same time, and meetings are being interrupted by other meetings. The question is, would folks be open to a different time for the meeting?
If we have to do it on electronically, teleconference next time. Yeah.
If we have to do it at a different time.
Like what
Do we
type
have
of
any
time?
sense of what that agenda looks like on April 7th at this point?
We will have a resolution for Ferravecchio Lot 4 off the top. Chang might be back by then. Felicia, what did we get?
We have the East Village,
The East Village.
the resolution for 16 Hollow Ridge.
Mhm.
I think Chang
course, the
is telling
resolution.
us they'll submit. Oh, and then we got something for Bukowski, the lot line amendment.
Yep, and we have a time extension, and we will have this master site plan. Final.
Yeah. I was just trying to get a sense of what the timing might be in terms of how long it might take.
Sounds
if we
like
met,
2.5
for example-
hours to me.
It's going to be longer than this meeting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
You know,
Um,
and
Well,
we can try and push whatever we think we can do, push, maybe.
I have another suggestion. Maybe we just ask everybody to start trying to log on at 6:30, instead of 6:45.
And we could do that.
It seems
And
like
that would give me at least time to find my notes as to how to get on.
By then, everything should be a little bit smoother. We had to apply and get a public link, but it took more than 24 hours. So everything should be in place by the next one. So I think it'll be smoother.
okay.
Yeah,
I had the same problem you had, Dick. I could see everybody, but I couldn't. I was muted every time I called in. I don't know why. And it worked perfectly fine the other day with sound.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But when I
Maybe,
hit the mute word in my upper, right-hand corner, that made me mute. And then I had to hit it again to be unmute or something. So I don't know. We need more practice.
So if there's an interest, I can try and find a different time. If not, we can, jump on earlier.
Yeah, and we don't have to talk. We can just sort of like get it to the right time so that people who are used to a 7 o'clock start, will have time to get on themselves.
Yeah, I'd like to suggest that,
Tom just got muted.
Tom just muted himself.
Yeah, Tom, no, he's,
sorry, okay, sorry, thank you. Is that we try and, just for the sake of the public and trying to keep things as normal as possible in these unnormal times, that it wouldn't hurt to try and keep to this meeting time. If we have to log on early to get systems up and running, I'm perfectly happy to do that.
Okay.
But that
Yeah,
would be fine.
I agree with that. And if we start trying to get on at 6:30, then everybody should be on, including the public, by 7 o'clock. I agree with Tom. We don't want to change it because then it gets weird for other people. One last thought, Sabrina. Can you check your sources, the YouTube and everything else? Did we miss, anybody who was trying to speak from the public?
Harry?
Hey, nobody was attempting, and I was checking the emails and everything that I could get access to.
So just to let you guys know how this is working, I have been working with Carrie. Carrie is really the kind of the technical person. She sits behind the room while we're being filmed in the assembly room. She's doing the same thing while she's here. So she is monitoring whatever service, public access service, whether it is YouTube, Skype, Facebook, whatever kind of public connection we have, she is monitoring that while all of us are speaking. And she's also monitoring all of us speaking, and she knows who is having difficulty, who isn't, and kind of controlling the behind the scenes. That's why she's here.
but I'd like to offer one thought. Tonight, we have an application which has a limited interest at this point. Ultimately, you're going to get applications that have neighbors who are particularly interested, and this format is not suitable for it. They're going to want to be able to have their questions and answers in real time and not write them out and follow them up and make statements. Is there a way for that to happen?
If anybody tried to get on the link, they can there's a way to raise your hand, or we can unmute everybody all the time, which, as you can see, causes issues with feedback. But we can unmute them when it's time for them to discuss their question or presentation and do it one by one that way.
So Les, I think you make a really good point, and we can't, I think that it's possible, maybe even probable, that we're not the first ones out of the gate trying to solve that particular problem. I wonder if the town board has any experience in this or other.
They're doing it for the first time like we are.
They're doing it right now.
Any other resources we could go to sort of, because I can imagine, well, I don't want to imagine a situation where we've got 10 members of the public who want to speak on this subject and try to manage that conversation. Maybe we can do it, but I wonder if there's a better way to do it.
Yeah,
If I may, a couple Saturdays ago, Carrie, do you want to talk about, that was like kind of a live stream when it was time for the question and answer. They took questions from everybody at home, right?
Yeah, we had a phone number that people, there was a phone number people could call in, or the live, the chat function on the live stream. And that was how they answered questions for that. But what we set up here is a little bit different than your test, unfortunately, which is probably why this got messed up, because this is actually called a webinar.
Right.
And what a webinar does is all the participants, you're automatically in, you shouldn't be muted. So I think that the link for the public got mixed up with the link for the participants. what happens in the webinar is, let's say we had the 15 people on the board, the applicants, and then you would have attendees that I can see all the people that would join. And in that case, when you say, now we're going to the public, anybody that's in that box can click a button that raises their hand where we can unmute them and then they can speak. The problem is you don't want to have 50 people all as participants because then it can get overwhelming.
Well, the problem though is that if we have an application that's particularly got problems in the mind of the public, then we have to hear them all, as long as they don't repeat the same questions.
Right, but they have to go one by one.
Sure, of course.
Again, I don't think.
That's actually better.
No, it is. It's definitely much more organized, and and Carrie's playing a moderator and she's just making sure that everybody's question gets asked and answered. So, but to be quite honest with you, hopefully we're not going to be utilizing this technology, for more than one more meeting.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. And here's the other thing about this. I'm just going to say it again, that and maybe a different way, that we can't be the first one and only public board who's solving this problem, in this country using technology. I mean, this is happening right now tonight in towns and cities like all over, I'm guessing, the place. And so I wonder if, I don't know who the tech, the ultimate tech guru who is available, who might know the technology that's available to us to do this, or a process that we could use that might be more efficient and more people friendly. I just don't know the answer to those questions, but it seems to me that that's probably something that people are addressing or already have addressed.
Well, I can tell you, I can provide some assurance that we are looking into it. There was not a lot of time in trying to do what we were trying to do because of the way the technology we were using. And
Sabrina, that really wasn't a criticism. That was just.
I know, but Tom, I want to assure you, I want to be better at this too. And part of the biggest challenge with this is creating a forum where the public can access the information easily and participate easily. And that is of primary importance. I think you raise a wonderful point, Tom. And I was on the phone with Carrie all afternoon trying to make sure that we were able to do it this evening, and we will continue to work on it and really focus for our next meeting to make sure we are up and running with whatever technologies we need.
No, I recognize it's a challenge. I don't mean to be critical. I'm just trying to wonder if, we could.
Just so you know, for example, the town board, I have it on another screen right next to me, and they are only broadcasting to YouTube, and the only way the public can access it is to type questions. So
one of the issues that I think, and Les and I have been talking about this is a rapidly evolving situation. Technology is one issue. I'm always concerned with the legal side. And of course, these rules are changing by the minute, if not, daily, in terms of what the governor is permitting in terms of meetings, waiving certain provisions of the law. So it's also very difficult to stay abreast of these changes. I think 2 weeks ago, trying to do what we did this evening might not have been all that proper, based on some of the rules and regulations. So I think with between Les and between Jennifer, and of course the technology side, we really have to stay on top of this as it evolves, and very quickly.
Well, the attorney that works with the town sent out the everything changed Friday afternoon, and I have the proclamation if you want to see it, for what needs to get done.
I wanted to ask you whether all the applicant submissions are being posted on the website so they're available online.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Because the days when the public could walk in and look at the file are over, at least for the time being. So they have to know that that's a place where they can review the submissions.
Yeah, yes, they are. And we communicate with the public. They still call our office. We advise them. We tell them where they can find things.
Perfect.
Everything is posted.
Yeah, I will tell you that this meeting, although it wasn't perfect, was certainly at the cutting edge of what was available given the time. So I think that we did well. It has its challenges, and I guess we'll get more comfortable with it the more we practice.
All
Thank you.
right. I agree.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? If not, can we head to our regularly programmed situations?
Okay.
Look at all the travel time we saved tonight.
Did
We
adjournment?
Do we
we
have to
didn't
close
do a
the
motion
meeting?
to close.
Yeah, we already closed it.
Ah, okay.
All right.
Motion.
All right.
Wait a minute,
Good night,
I didn't
everybody.
hear that.
What's that? You didn't hear that?
Who closed? I didn't hear that.
We'll try it again. Yeah, we'll practice. Is there a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.